try though I might. I cannot look away. You're not what I expected to find. And now I'm forgetting why I should.
Hey, Wolf. Thank you so much for the resub.
Yeah. One gentle kiss, the pain alleviates. Poisonous lips annihilate me, and every dream that I trade for this bliss. But who can resist? I'm starving alone in the wilderness. Beautiful distraction, keep me hypnotized, and I fall for the enemy. Powerless reaction, I am paralyzed, and now you get the best of me. Is the noble safe from your deceit and lies? I know I've been told this road isn't paved with gold, but I see it glitter now. I'm sold for the enemy. My hands are tied. You've captured your next slave, but it feels justified. I don't
Hey,
even try
Qualdroma.
to break free.
Good to see you.
And now I'm blind to the truth at my side. That we win before we
Had a few technical difficulties, so we're running a minute or two behind.
blindness. Beautiful distraction, keep me hypnotized, and I fall for the enemy. Powerless reaction, I am paralyzed, and now you get the best of me. Is there no one safe from your deceit and lies? I know I've been told this road isn't paved with gold, but I see it glitter now. I'm sold for this. Ooh, we're going down. We're going down. Yeah, we're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Na, 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 na. We're going down. We're going down. Beautiful distraction, keep me hypnotized, and I fall for the
Hey, Chris. Good to see you.
I am paralyzed, and now you get the best of me. Is there no one safe from your deceit and lies? I know I'm told this road isn't paved with gold, but I see it glitter now. I'm sold for this.
All right. Let's get this started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Rob Phantom NJ, and it is another Thursday here in sweltering hot New Jersey. Hey, Dungeon Mr. Ty. What's up? What's up? Oh man, I don't know that that's ever going to get old. It's what, we're 20 years on now from that, and it's still funny every time it happens. I loved it when they had added the frogs doing it as well, which was amazing. Oh boy. No, it can't be. Is it that long? No. No, I don't think I was in my teens when that happened. Or at least not in my early teens. Ah. I know I was at least in college. Maybe just after college when that happened. But anyway, yeah, it's another Thursday. Sitting here in sweltering hot New Jersey. Thankfully, it's not as bad as it is in some places in the country. I don't even want to think about what it's like down south because, well, I didn't choose to live down in the swamps and such. Yeah, so it's yeah, about 27 years ago. Okay. Yep. Yeah, no, that about tracks. That tracks. Because I first time I remember it, the earliest from I remember is my late friend Cornelius. He used to host the Super Bowl party at his house because it was kind of the midway point for those of us who lived in the north and in the south, and he had his own house. And his wife was a big football fan as well. So even if she was an Eagles fan, I was able to forgive her for that because she was really cool people. But yeah, no, I remember it. Back when the commercials were worth watching, or you kind of really wanted to see the commercials. They've been very. It doesn't feel like they're really trying anymore. As a Giants fan, I'm firmly on board with that sentiment. Oh man, there are times when I say that to my own team because oh my goodness, they're they're wearing a hat, but they cause me so much pain. Yeah, which is amazing considering I am not the NFL fan or even a football fan. You're a Cowboys fan, aren't you? Because if you're not going to tell me that there's only one team you can possibly be that you wouldn't tell me. Oh, listen, I have enough of those around here, and I'm not going to lie. They're probably the number one. I mean, I wouldn't be a fan of the team anyway, just because they're in the division and they've long time been in the division. They've also been a major pain in the neck, but I don't know. Cowboys fans around here are the absolute freaking worst. I mean, it's one of those things where you hear about all week during football season, all week, every day, every every moment. And the thing is, you can do that. I mean, bantering between fans and giving each other crap is one thing, but when they lose, it's when they lose. Suddenly, they don't want to talk football at all. They don't want to hear a thing. They don't want you to say anything. I mean, it just and the problem is there's too many of them, and it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to hear your crap if you're not going to take it when your team has a terrible day. I've got no respect for a fan who wants to talk, talk, but isn't prepared to take it when their team loses. Nope, not gonna do it. I just I don't want to hear your crap. And it's like all of them here. uh, no, I mean, and the thing is, they don't disappear here. That's the problem. They don't. It isn't like they go into seclusion and just don't you don't see them. They're there. They're just suddenly not interested in talking football at all. For the whatever day the game is, probably until Wednesday. Usually by Tuesday, Tuesday evening they get it out of their system. But for at least 3 days, they will not talk football with you at all. Every offseason for the Super Bowl. I've often said Jerry Jones is the gift that keeps on giving because I am convinced that as long as he owns that team, they are never winning another Super Bowl ever. The man just it's he's the night for me. He's like the nightmare scenario for an owner. But yeah, no, I am not the nearly the NFL fan I was when I was younger. Um, I'll get into it, especially if the Giants are good. I'll get into it, and even if they're bad, I mean, I'll watch it if there's nothing else on. Um, yeah, but yeah, okay, that's fair. It's Al Davis was. I mean, Al Davis was definitely a rebel, but I would have more faith in Al Davis figuring out how to put together a football team than Jerry Jones ever did. Jerry Jones would love to take credit for other people's work. The stupidest thing that he ever did was fire Jimmy Johnson. I mean, that was just that was just, what are you doing? I was like, I'm happy you did it, but what are you doing? And NHL. I mean, my Devils have caused me lots of grief for the last few years, but I still love them. It's like I voted for them when they first came into before they came into the league, and they were looking for a name, and they put out polls in the newspaper that people could respond to, because that's what you did back then, pre-internet. And yeah, and I've been able to say I can say I've had the joy of watching 5 Stanley Cup appearances, 3 Stanley Cup wins, so I can't complain. I just hope they figure out now that they've got a new Marty. Yeah. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. The what was it? 2002 Olympics, where it ended up USA Canada in a thing. I couldn't root for the USA. I hate to admit it. I was rooting for Canada because Marty was the goalie, and the U.S. goalie was Mike Richter of the Rangers, and that it was all I needed was to have the U.S. beat Canada with Richter in goal, and my life would have been a living hockey hell. It's like, yeah, no, team pride got in the way of national pride. So, and plus, the thing about that particular Olympics was, that was the Olympics where Marty started finally getting his due, because for years it's like, well, it's all about the defense, it's all about this, it's all about that. I'm sorry, no. Yeah, he had great defense, and having Scott Stevens and Scott Niedermeyer playing in front of you, and a bunch of doing the trap and whatever. But that defense only worked as well as it did because Marty was in goal. Because when they have to change the rules because of how good you are at what you do, that's when you know that you are an NHL legend. And that trapezoid behind the goal, there is no one on earth who will ever convince me that was not basically their attempt to neutralize Marty Brodeur. You can't. There's no way. I mean, there've been other good stick handling goaltenders, but Marty was as good or better than anyone I've ever seen. I mean, the other one who was good, Roberto Luongo, was another one who was really good at it. But most goaltenders, when they tried stick handling, they got themselves into trouble, which made things entertaining. It was like, great. Hey, Jay, good to see you. We will be raiding into Jay once we are done here, as there is a special game tonight. I think it's two-parter. I will be unfortunately raiding and running because, well, I'll be lurking, but I will be playing some D&D tonight myself. The ever mysterious Tim has a reverse dungeon game that will not be streamed. We will be playing offline, but 3 Skin lives for now. We'll see how far that goes. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, but I mean, it was after that Olympics, when they finally won the gold medal, that Marty started finally getting the credit he deserved for how damn good he is. Tomorrow is Friday Night Crusades, Brad. We will be off next week. I found out that it's a hell week. It's a hell month for me for work, and it is also my niece's Their birthday is in like a couple of weeks, and because of the fact that I'm working on Sunday, this coming Sunday, I've got 2 days off at the end of next week, and I'm going out to Western PA to spend some time with my nephew, my two nieces, and my brother. So we will be here playing tomorrow night. We will be off next week, and then we should be good for the rest of the summer. I don't have anything else planned. I don't really anticipate going anywhere else this summer. I've got a training, but that's going to be at home, and it's not going to impact Friday Night Crusades. So we will have tomorrow night and then off a week, and then we should be good for, barring anything unforeseen, for the rest of the summer. So let's talk Friday Night Crusades. Because I had some questions about it. Occasionally the topic comes up, or I'll get asked a question about it. Usually during one of Jay's chats, Jay's streams. I'll bring up something, and I'll get a few questions here and there, or after I played in one of the games and I mentioned it going on. So what is Friday Night Crusades? So Friday Night Crusades actually started. The original version of it was 5.5 years ago. Maybe getting closer to 6. It was back in the days when I spent a lot of time with Blue Box RPG. I hadn't started streaming at the time yet. My first stream game was actually on their channel. And, we were basically hanging out in the Discord. There's a bunch of us, 5 or 6 of us, and just chatting on a Friday night. And there's bored. We were just bored. It was, during the lockdown period, we were getting started with lockdown. And, it's like, we should run a game. I came up with the idea to run a game via Discord and make it the lowest barrier to entry possible. I don't mention them much anymore because of issues. There's a lot of reasons why. Well, even before even before John disappeared, there are a lot of reasons why why I left. It's its own saga, and part of it actually tied up in Friday Night Crusades. But anyway, we were sitting around in Discord. I was like, I'll run a game, and we're gonna make it lowest barrier to entry possible. And so the idea was I was gonna run a game every Friday. It was just gonna be basically an excuse to get together and roll some dice. Wasn't going to be anything overly involved. Nothing really deep. As a matter of fact, I decided I was just going to basically run some of the Troller game modules, and that turned out to be a mistake. Not because they're bad modules, because it didn't fit what I was going for, and it ended up causing problems. But yeah, it was all you needed to do was basically be able to roll up with a CNC character. At the time, that was because of lockdown. TLG had, and let me give them a pop because they do stream this. They do sponsor the channel, and they are the makers of Castle and Crusades, Amazing Adventures, and other fine products, including the Codex of Erd, a lore-rich fantasy world with some 20,000 years of history. So you can go with the lore as deep as you want to, because there's so much of it, and they keep expanding on it. They've really cranked up expanding on the initial. Oh, nice. On the initial what do you call it, book, because the Codex of Erd itself is thick, and then they've got different softcover supplements that handle specific areas, so they can expand, be able to expand on it. And I think they may have like 12 or 13 of those out now. They've been coming fast and furious. Ty, that reminds, yeah, you know what? I need to get information or something on in terms of that so that I can pop that into pop that into a shout out for you. Because yeah, that'd be cool, and I can set that up under Grace as well. But yeah, and I have one. I have one of them that is currently on the way. I had just won a gift coupon, so I put it towards it. So, yeah, I've already got the PDF, and then I'll have the hard copy or the print copy coming to me soon. Hey, Lord Forth. So the idea was all you needed was basically some way to roll dice. I didn't care what it was. I mean, I didn't care if you could use digital dice, you could use physical dice. The game is not that serious. Was not going to be. We're not going to be checking your die and making sure that you're not cheating or whatever. You had to be able to listen in on Discord. It was preferable that you were able to talk on Discord, and there was no attendance requirement. You showed up whenever you could for however long you could. Whatever time you got there, it was okay. Whatever time you had to leave was okay. If you were only able to be there for a half an hour a session, on a weekly basis, great. If you were only able to be there for like an hour and a half every other session, great. If you were able to be there one session every 2 months, fantastic. We very much hand waved. It became kind of a running joke, because we would hand wave characters suddenly showing up and disappearing. There was always some other room that they were running in from that they just happened to catch up with the party, and they just suddenly disappeared, and it was like they were never there. A wizard did it, yeah. Oh. And it got started. Now, I'll be honest with you. The first few weeks, it was questionable as to whether we were going to get this really off the ground. I had like 2 or 3 people, none of which were the people who were so excited about it. It was kind of funny. There was like 5 or 6 people in the channel when it discussed, and everybody was, going crazy. This is going to be great, whatever. And to my knowledge, to my recollection, none of those people ever actually played in the game, or at least not at the initially for any length of time. We finally hit our stride, and it got to the point where, for a game where there was no, you're absolutely right, Jay. But what was interesting was that for a game that had no attendance requirement whatsoever, people kept asking me, people kept letting me know when they were not going to be able to be there, when they were going to be able to be there, how long they were going to be able to be there, whatever. It's like, okay, that's awesome. Thank you. You don't need to do it, but I appreciate it. We started to hit our stride. The numbers fluctuated here and there, and the players fluctuated. Like some people were there for a while, and then life circumstances. Some people joined later. But it grew. And it grew to the point where I had been doing the published A modules. Those were the first TLG modules I ever tried. And that was on me. I was looking for something quick and easy make my own life easier. And that did not make life easier because there was a couple of things that went into it becoming an issue. One, I didn't appreciate how much not being knowledgeable about the world of Aired and the history behind it, and the various factions and such was going to be problematic. I will get to that in a second, Brad. Yeah. So there was that. Then there was those modules were a lot deeper, and there was a lot more sandbox in a sense, which should have been helpful, but because of the fact that it also required having a better understanding of the setting, was ended up being not helpful. And then I realized that people being there, not being there, could make certain things very, very problematic. We ended up getting through like the first three modules. I'm not going to say they were played out exactly the way they should have, but we did get through them. And there was a point where I decided to bring them over to the world of Greyhawk effectively through the Looking Glass, and we went that route. Now, interestingly enough, several things happened along the way. First, we had we did have a character die. Lee was the first player to have a character die in my game, in Friday Night Crusades. I'm trying to figure out if Lee's still no, Lee's not the only character to have a character. That's right. Yeah, I had to remind myself of something. Lee ended up having a character die through a series of bad decisions and bad rolls. it's like I tried, and also a little bit of bad luck as well. So Lee was the first one to have a character switch because of. That's when Lee came up with the idea of having a chain of characters all in the same family, all of their names based on gemstones or just basically crystal names. So gems, crystals, whatever, and such. So that was cool. Another thing that happened was we came up with, for a game that was not meant to be all that serious. Certain things developed. One was the propensity to reuse corpses, specifically goblin corpses, and anything else they could find, for the purposes of mitigating potential traps. Which was, that was, I mean, they used them for all interesting types of purposes. It was, I literally had to keep track of how many things that they had killed, so I knew how many things they could possibly mitigate and what they could do with them. Two, in a bit of role play, again more than I was expecting. It became canon in the game that half-orcs were very, very big fans of snake meat. They had happened to kill a giant snake that, amazingly enough, was strangling Lee's character because it was they were searching the room for treasure, and Lee's character looked under the bed where there was a giant snake, and they were also hiding from the various forces that were there. And somebody actually asked if there was a way to build a fire, and was there, like a hearth or fireplace in the room. I'm like, why? And like, so we can cook the snake. The half-orcs want snake. And it became a running joke that every time they came across a food vendor or went to a tavern or something, they would ask if they served snake meat. And they would offer to hunt the snake. They would offer to hunt for snake to have it served there. Another thing that happened, we talked about character switching. We did end up having our first character switch when I made the decision that they were going to switch over and basically go through a portal and end up in the world of Greyhawk. I don't remember that, that part. I don't think we went that deep, Lord Forth, to be honest with you. I don't remember. Asher decided to switch characters and, went from having he was one of the two he was one of the two main half orcs in the group. Sadly, we ended up losing one of our players to COVID. That was a big loss. But Asher decided he wanted to switch characters, and so his half orc ranger, it was a ranger, might have been a fighter. No, I don't know his. I don't know. It was like his. I think his Twitch and or Discord handle was like D&D player 888. His character's name was Roy. I want to say his real name was Keith, but we never called people by their real names. He had, the guy was maybe a few years old, maybe 2 or 3 years older than me. Yeah, he sent a message to let us know he was going in the hospital, and that he was frightened because it was a frightening time. We didn't hear from him for months, and it was John who ended up letting us know that he had passed, like 4 months later. We found out that he never left the hospital. But yeah, so Asher changed his character from his half orc. I don't remember if his half orc was a ranger or a fighter. It's hard. That's the worst. So he ended up creating a wizard. So yeah, we had character switches. We had other people switch characters at various times. I don't remember specifically who did, but there were a couple of people who decided they really wanted to change to something different. And it was fine. It was no big deal. We just figured it out along the way. My only rule was once you switch characters, you were not going back to the old character. We were not going to play that game. So if you want to switch, that's fine. We'll work with it, but I'm not going to be bouncing back and forth. So you got 2 characters, soaking up gear, and treasure. So we went to the world of Greyhawk, and had a lot of fun because we were playing out of the city of Hardby. And this is a group that I put through not only Castle Zagig. I had the PDF, the original PDFs that had been put out years ago, but they also went through the Temple of Elemental Evil. And that's when I figured out that they were the third and final group that I ever sent to the Temple of Elemental Evil, and I'll run Village of Hamlet over and over again. I don't know that I will ever, unless somebody like completely rewrites the temple to make it make sense, I am never doing that again. I'm not. The temple itself is a hot mess of an adventure. I enjoy, I love Village of Hamlet. I think it's a great, it's somewhere in my top 3 modules of all time. I don't know if it's number 1, but it's definitely in the conversation. Actually, yeah, I am. I realize that. Oh, no, wait, no. That's not true. I'm not all that hungry. I had to think about that. I did actually have my late lunch. Burger, fries, yum. Always a good thing. So anyway, we did a lot of interesting stuff. Some of it was, published adventures. Some of it was, then there was in between. There was a whole lot of homebrewed stuff. The party may or may not have unleashed a undead mummy-led army in the Bright Desert. on its way towards Hardby. At which point they decided to that was the point at which they decided they had heard rumors about the the elemental cultists in near Hamlet and jumped at the chance to get out of Dodge before anybody associate him. Hey, Fosco, good to see you. So there was that, and then we ended up getting to the point where I think they were around level 8 or 9, and I needed a break. I don't remember what we did. We did something where I was able to basically tie up loose ends, other than the undead army, which we never we never went back to that because they had no interest in dealing with it. But we kind of tied up loose ends, and after I think it was like 3 years in, 2 or 3, maybe it was maybe close to 3 years. I don't know if we hit the 3-year mark. I went on hiatus, and Jeff, some of you know him as Sigland, took over. Basically, did a new campaign with new people. That was the point at where things came to a head, and we ended up having to switch it to my Discord because of problems with Blue Box. That was that was strike 2 in terms of the beginning. It wasn't the beginning of the end, but it started accelerating the ending process of me being associate. Excuse me. Jeff ran it. I don't know. I think he ran it for about a year. And they were having a lot of fun. I got to play a little bit here and there because I was kind of exhausted and needed a break to concentrate on other things. And then I would show up for a game here and there, and real life was getting to be a bit much, so he needed to stop. We went on hiatus for a while, and then I think it's a year and 2 months now. I want to say it was May of last year, that, I started up the new adventure with the new campaign. And, this has been special. This one, the first one was special because by the time we had ended, we had 26 different people playing, having played, I think it was like 31 to 32 different characters. Patrick, I will see you in a little bit. So, and by the end, we were having sessions where there were 10 or more people showing up each week. So it was huge. It of course made, it added a little bit more pressure, but I was used to running big groups. I didn't mind. But yeah, it was really very, very popular. When I started the new one, and like I said, it's basically a year and 2 months ago, I think. I wasn't sure what to expect. Because we had some of the people, were brand new, in the Discord as far as like who was active. Actually, a lot of people were brand new. There were some holdouts from the original, but not quite as many, or even the ones who were around didn't have the same amount of time. So I wasn't sure how this was going to go, and a couple things became really clear almost immediately. Was that this group wanted to play a different kind of game. We did decide to start in the World of Greyhawk that's being held in the Duchy of Ernst. Like my Embers of Empire campaign, which you can see on Twitch or on YouTube now that the channel's there. If you could, if you haven't already, if you could visit my YouTube channel and subscribe, that would be huge. I would love to get to 100 subscribers because I think it ends up getting a lot more. Have basically, it's a lot more accessible to people at that point, or at least that's what I keep getting told. There's some benefit to being at 100 subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't, if you could spare a moment to to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be awesome. It covers Embers of Empire from the very, very beginning. That first session in from Virtual Greyhawk Con a few years ago to the present. The only sessions that are not in there are those that were held at GaryCon because I didn't have a way of recording those. So yeah, we started with the new group, and we started with I think it was about 4 or 5 of us, 4 or 5 players at the beginning, and there was a distinct interest. We had a little, kind of almost like a trading post type situation where there was basically a tavern, a blacksmith, and a. I appreciate that, Tarver. Thank you so much. Basically a few shops, but nothing else. This little place called Griffin's Crossing. I placed it just on the main road, basically south of center in the Duchy of Ernst, and the players adopted this little nothing stop, trading stop along thing, and the people. And we did a lot, everything in this one so far has been homebrewed. Now, that's not to say that I haven't taken supplements and adapted ideas, but there have been no pre-canned adventures, no pre-published adventures for this new one. This has been all driven by what the players want to do. Plus, I've got, my own little things, some things I've thrown at them, which has been really cool. It's also led to some stuff I hadn't planned for. Specifically, I one of the things that we were talking about, I was talking with some chatters in Jay's stream the other night. NPCs, there are no throwaway NPCs in my game for this. Not because I didn't intend there to be any throwaway NPCs, but any NPC that they end up talking to, I can guarantee they're going to end up talking to them again. Because it's like I think they have a network of priests of different deities. Different priests of different deities in, I think, 6 or 7 different locations that they're using as an information network. They are familiar with not only the proprietors of taverns in a whole bunch of different towns, but also some of the more well-known customers of those taverns. I need to compile the list because it's getting out of control. Got to catch them all, and yeah, it's like got to keep them all. That's well, I mean, to an extent, maybe, I guess. I mean, yes, Vesper normally handles all the priestly contacts, but now you've got the dwarves with Brynhild. There's I mean, Vesper is very much like the main point of contact, but Vesper, in many ways, has ended up being kind of the become the face of the party, with Brynhild being, pretty much a close second. I am trying to fix that because as the group grows, I want to make sure that no one is getting left behind in terms of being being active and being a true part of the world. Not You're not just there to make rolls and fight things. I mean, if that's what you really want, you let me know, and I'll I'm glad to handle it. But there's and hey, listen, and that's fine. I am all for that. We need to remember, Porthak, you're probably the one who's most likely to be a good contact for the outpost. Now that Lord Ellis has met his end, there is that. But yeah, there's a lot of a lot of stuff involving taverns, a lot of stuff regarding the trade as far as the trading groups. There's a lot. This party has made me work hard to keep on top of all the different moving parts and trying to remember where the hell everyone is. That part's on me. It's like one of those things where I didn't quite, because of the fact I wasn't entirely intending all of these NPCs to be frequent, frequent flyers. I didn't necessarily think too hard about where they actually existed in this world. Lord Porthank, there may be a ways to go before something like that happens. But yeah, it's been enjoyable. There's also been a lot of role play. Again, when the initial thought for this group was, and not this particular group, but in general for this type of game was, let's go run some adventures, kill some bad guys, get some loot, kill some more stuff, and just do some, maybe not quite a hex crawl, but more dungeon crawls and stuff, and have some fun with it. Nah, this has become an exercise in role play where we've gone multiple sessions in a row without basically rolling initiative. I get a little edgy when it happens, because that's the point at which I worry about those people who are more, tend to be quieter during the game. And which is why I try to make sure that everyone is, has some involvement of some sort. It's not easy. That's the other thing. This has been a very tight grouping that shows up, week after week after week. I feel that, Chris. I feel that in my soul. That's not to say that everybody's attendance is perfect, but I can count, there's probably going to be 5 people who are there, there for more or less. I think it's a group of 7, or I think we're at 7 or 8 now, where any 5 to 6 of those 8 are going to be there every single week. We rarely have a week where we're hurting for people. And Chris and Tarva had just joined us, so I think that's basically 7 and 8. So we have we've got a good solid group where even with things like Doc Shoulder, who's playing our rogue, travels a lot. He's got do a lot of stuff for work and travels and such. So he can't be there all the time. Lee is there every week, but Lee's only there for like the last half hour, 45 minutes of each game, because Lee's playing from their phone while they're at a bus stop or on their bus, getting home at night from work. But they're there every week, pretty much. I kind of feel bad when they arrive just as we're finishing up. But still, they get credit for being there. So yeah, I mean it's been a good group, it's been a solid group, which has also made life easier because it's been easier to plan things. It's been easier to not have to worry about, okay, can I throw this at them? Are they going to have enough people? Because they likely are. So yeah, it's been a fun run. It is a hell of a thing for Great Cure, well, or at least holding down the imposter syndrome, because when you've got a group of people who keep showing up for a game that has zero attendance requirement, that you're almost literally throwing together as it's happening, because you're never quite sure what your party is going to want to do next. And they just, again, keep showing up. Feels good, man. It feels really, really, really good. All right. Like I said, I am going to be playing some. I am going to be playing some D&D tonight off stream. We do have Castles and Crusades, Friday Night Crusades tomorrow night. If you'd like to join the Discord link should be in the chat. I think most people here are already in the Discord. You are more. I cannot stress enough. If you don't have time to play this week, but you'd like to listen in and just enjoy, just basically lurking while everyone's playing, we are happy to have you. Anytime from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow night. Come join us. Come join the fun. Come sit and relax and listen in on a game. And if you like what you hear and the game seems like something you might enjoy, again, it doesn't matter how often you're available. If your character ends up falling way too far behind, we'll figure out a catch up mechanism. There'll come a point where we'll do something so that you're able to play with the party without being at too much of a disadvantage. There's no reason not to, other than purely being unavailable. But yeah, come join the fun. Come watch as they make new friends. So many new friends. And yes, you're while we ask you to keep your microphones muted while the gameplay is happening, you are more than welcome to ask questions in the for the Friday Night Crusades chat. Again, please join us. Just come in out, hang out and listen. And if it looks like fun, roll up a character. Hey Asher, I was telling them before, we are playing tomorrow night. Next week we're going to be off for FNC. I am going to go visit. I was able to get some time off to go visit my nieces for their birthday. So we're here tomorrow night. We are off next week. Thanks, Ray. I really appreciate that. Well, hey, listen, less blood is definitely a good thing. Oh man, I have our vet or even the daycare center trim my dog's claws, his nails, because I was warned about the dangers of doing it incorrectly, and he's not going to let me hold him down in order to do it properly. So we were talking how the evolution of Friday Night Crusades. And that, it's funny, not to mention I'm missing, I do need to export a bunch of stuff from from here to YouTube. So there's that. But I'll be back next week on Thursday. Again, Friday Night Crusades tomorrow night. And hopefully I'm hoping by next week I'll have an announcement as to when the next streamed game is going to be. So it's going. We'll see how that goes. Oof, that's. Oh man, that sucks. That really sucks. All right. Last chance for the giveaway. Exclamation point. Ticket to enter. How many people do we have? Yes, I saw it. I've already read through it. Right now, your odds are really, really good. There are only 3 people in the giveaway. People, exclamation point ticket. It doesn't cost you anything. I took I didn't read it hard all the way through. I know it's it's a little level, which is interesting. I honestly might save that for GaryCon for one of the groups. Because there's the characters there tend to be a lot of starting characters. So I think I might save that for GaryCon. All right, we are at 4 for the giveaway. Gonna give another 5 seconds. Exclamation point ticket. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am closing the giveaway. Oh yeah, the magic items. I did see the Dwarven Warhorn. That looked cool. I was looking at some of the other ones and thinking which ones might be interesting to put into the game. And drawing a winner. Chris. Oh my goodness, Chris. I should just like start sending you these, just sending them to you automatically because, man, you are, well, for this, where this thing's concerned, you are a lucky man. All right, finishing the giveaway. We are going to be raiding into Jay. I know Jay's already started. So, again, Friday Night Crusades tomorrow night. We'll have another stream next Thursday. Topic to be determined as usual. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for listening to me blab on about FNC. And get your raid emotes ready. As we get ready to raid Lord Gazumba. All right, nice. We've got 18 viewers. Rating in 3, 2, 1. I will see you all on the flip side.
Shortly. So here we go.